Welcome to the American Dream in the Eyes of Immigrants podcast. I am your host, Heidy De La Cruz, and I am on the mission to change the narrative of immigration, one immigrant story at a time. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the American Dream in the Eyes of Immigrants podcast. I am your host, Heidy De La Cruz, and today I have a very special guest. I have Kristy here with us, and she is going to be talking about her journey of coming to the United States from the Philippines. Welcome, Kristy. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing great, and I'm so excited to share my story. And thank you so much for letting me on your podcast.
Yes, no, thank you so much for taking the time and being willing to share your story. These are very unique stories, and I have found a lot of value, and I've been learning a lot actually with listening to these stories and the different guests. So, why don't we start with you introducing yourself to the audience, who you are, what you do, and then we can jump right into your childhood in the Philippines.
Sure, yeah. So my name is Kristy Yoder. I am the CEO and founder of Smart VAs. It's a virtual assistant agency, a company that I started here in the States, in Ohio, but I was a freelancer when I was still in the Philippines in 2017. And then when I moved from the Philippines to the States, that's where I grew the business. I am married, and we're celebrating our 5th year anniversary this year.
Aww.
And we don't have kids yet, but we have a golden retriever puppy, although he's already 2 years old. We still call him a puppy. um yeah, so that's pretty much me. I do a lot of things every day. I pretty much work on the business. I'm pretty active on social media, on Instagram and LinkedIn, and I'm just happy to, meet people and learn from them.
Yeah. And we'll give a chance later on in the episode to give, more information about your business and how that all came about. So tell us, so you moved to the United States in 2017? Is that
2019?
2019? Okay,
Yeah.
perfect. So tell us about the Philippines. Tell us about growing up. How was life out there before, the US?
Wow, that is a good question and a big question. Um, Growing up in the Philippines, it wasn't as tough as compared to other, people in the Philippines. I didn't really grow up poor. We
Okay.
had enough, but we were not living a comfortable lifestyle. Even though we were able to eat 3 times a day,
Mm-hmm.
it wasn't as comfortable as compared to other people who grew up, wealthy. And I grew up with my parents who were very hardworking. My dad, he didn't graduate high school, or I think even grade school. And he worked in Saudi Arabia for 12 years, and he didn't really see me grow up as a teenager. He left when I was in 3rd grade. And so he pretty much lived most of his life in Saudi Arabia. And during that time, it was just me, my mom, and my brother. I have 3 siblings, but my 2 other siblings during that time, they were already married, so it was just me, my mom, and my brother. We lived together, and so my dad was, sending money, for me and my brother and my mom. Enough money to get by, for school and
Yeah.
to have food on the table. But at the same time, my mom was very entrepreneurial as well, which I didn't realize during that time because I was super young
Yeah.
and I didn't really care about it. It's like, as long as I have my allowance and we can eat, that's fine. That's fine. But now that I'm an adult, I'm starting to realize the sacrifices sacrifices that my parents, did for me in order for us, to finish school. And so my mom was very entrepreneurial. She's into cosmetics. She was a beautician. She was a massage therapist. So at an early age, it was during I think grade school, she had put up a few businesses, mainly beauty parlor. It was just small. It was a beauty parlor, and then she had me assist her when there's customers. So I learned how to cut hair just by watching her do that, and I learned how to do hair rebond. I don't know if it was popular here in the States, but hair rebonding was very popular in the Philippines in early 2000s. So she taught me how to do that. She taught me how to clean nails and all that kind of stuff. But during that time, I didn't see my mom as a business owner. I thought that she was doing that because it was a necessity. She had
Yeah.
to do something in order for us to have enough, to live. And so I thought being a business owner, in the Philippines was a necessity. It's not really a passion. you
Yeah.
know
Yeah.
so that's pretty much how I grew up. And during high school, I fell in love with my first boyfriend. I cut classes because I was dating with my boyfriend, and so I ended up dropping out of high school. So from grade school to second year high school, I was top of the class. I was part of the top section. So in the Philippines, during my time, they don't have it now, but during my time, there are different sections. So for instance, if you are in fifth grade, there
Mhm.
are 20 sections because there's a lot of people, in the Philippines, and there are a lot of students in public schools. So there are about 20 sections. So if you are part of section 1 to 3, that means you are one of the smartest kid in that grade because you're part of that group. So they kind of choose the students in terms of what section they will be put in, based on the average that they get on their scorecard. So if you average, let's say for instance, 90 to 100, you're going to be part of section 1 or 2 or 3. So, so that if you're not doing great at school, you're going to be at part of section 10 to 20,
Yeah.
or whatever, which is so weird because during that time, we didn't realize that it was that way. We didn't even think of, people who were in sections 5 or more than that. We didn't even think that they're not doing great in school. We just thought that it's supposed to be that way. But looking at it now, I was like, wow, with the way how the world has changed, parents are gonna be complaining about it,
Yeah.
because they didn't want their child to be labeled, stupid just because they're part of
Yeah.
section 20 or whatever, right? And that's pretty much maybe the reason why they removed that already. And so yeah, I was top of the class, but I didn't really consider myself as a smart kid. And even now, most people, they tell me, Kristy, you're smart, you can do this, you can do that. And I'm not academically smart, I'm street smart. I hate studying. If there's a better way to do things more efficiently, I would skip a lot of steps.
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know if
Yeah.
I could go to where I want to be without studying. So I dropped out of high school because I fell in love. But then my mom told me one day that there is a program in our town for out of school youth. And she told me that if I take the review sessions for the entire year, which is just for once a week, I can take the test to accelerate to college. And so I said, okay, yeah, whatever. I'll do it. And so I told my mom that I'm gonna do it, but then I only attended, I think, 2 or 3 review sessions because again, I don't like studying. I hate being in school. And so during that time, I was just hanging out with friends, partying, getting drunk. And during my high school era, that was also the era of emo punk rock kids. I don't know
Oh, yeah.
if you
Hmm.
you know if you notice. So I was part of that, group of kids, and so we were at the bar. It's probably around 2 or 3 a.m. I'm getting drunk with my friends, and my mom texted me and she told me, "Hey, the exam for the acceleration test is tomorrow morning," which is actually that morning already because she texted me after midnight. So the test is at this time at I think around 7 or 8 a.m. And I was like, oh, okay, I need to attend this test. And I didn't even know that I could still attend. I'm still part of the examination because I did not finish the review for the entire year. And so I got home still drunk and I was still hangover. um and so I went to the examination center. I took the test, and after a week, I saw online that I passed the test, and so I was able to
Look
get
at
into
that.
college.
And you're not
Yeah,
smart.
I was
And you're not smart.
so I was able to get into college, and then I took up computer science, but I was already working during that time as a call center agent because most
Mm.
customer service companies are based out in the Philippines. So I was a call center agent. So I was trying to work and at the same time do my study. And so I also didn't do great in college. I just paid my classmates to do my assignments and projects because I had the money already and they needed money, to do whatever they want. And so I kind of paid my way out of college. And so I finished college and now I'm here,
Now
and
you're
no, but that story, it's not even luck, it's not even me 100% who did all of that. And now that I'm an adult, I realized that God really protected me during that time and he had a plan for me, and that no
Amen.
matter what you do, if God said go straight and you go left or right, God will make a way to pull you out and put you in the right direction. And
Yeah.
I did a lot of rebellion during my younger years. I had, dated guys, not just once, but sometimes multiple guys at the same time. Um, and I started working and be independent at the age of 17 because I wanted to do what I wanted to do. I'm just the type of person, like when I want something, I want it
Yeah.
now.
Yeah. Oh man, so many things. So did you know what work your dad was doing in Saudi Arabia?
Yeah, he was a driver at first, and then he was a carpenter.
Okay. And then seeing your mom, in the beauty industry, did that like spark anything in you? Or was that like, or were you just like, okay, that's just what she has to do to get by?
Yeah, you know what? Even though I was really immersed in the beauty industry because my sister, she's in Dubai right now and she's there for a decade already. And she's also working at a salon. So she's a
Mhm.
hairdresser. And
Yeah.
my sister-in-law and some of our relatives, they're into, that kind of work as well, except for me. So no,
Mm.
I didn't think about doing it as a profession.
Yeah.
I was just helping my mom because she gave me money for helping.
Got it. Got it. So you eventually did finish college, right?
Right.
Okay. What is in computer science? That's what you got your degree in?
Yeah.
Okay, cool, cool. So tell us about what events led you to come to the US.
Okay, this is where the story becomes better. Now, I did not cheat my way out of the Philippines to go to the US.
You are
Um
hilarious.
uh, yes. So I was already, I think, during the time I met my husband. I think I was already 27 years old, and my husband and I were about the same age. So I got into a lot of wrong relationships before my husband. So I was brokenhearted,
Mhm.
and I had trust issues, and I didn't know my identity during that time. But then when I broke up with my last boyfriend before my husband, um, I came to know my faith, and that helped me become who I am right now. And then I started um, creating accounts on different dating sites, because one of my coworkers, she told me, well, hey, why not try online dating? It's kind of like going to a bar and meeting somebody. It's just that it's virtual, instead of meeting somebody at a bar, you're meeting somebody online. And I said, okay, I'm gonna try doing that. And then there is this dating site that is supposedly quote unquote for Christians, but of course not everybody is what they say they
Yeah.
are. I think anywhere you go, regardless of what website you go to, maybe just Instagram or Facebook, there are a lot of scammers. And so
Mhm.
I sign up on cmatch.com, and I just met my husband there. He was the first person
Aw.
I spoke to for a long time, and I'm glad that I didn't really have to entertain a lot of guys, because it can also give me, a broken heart, expecting for
Yeah.
somebody to be the person that you're expecting them to be. So I met my husband from there, and then we were friends for a year. And then during the time we were friends, we were talking a lot. And there's a big gap in terms of time difference. So during nighttime in the States, it's daytime in Ohio, and vice versa. So I was up until 4 a.m. talking talking
Talking to him. Aw.
talking to him. So we were really getting to know each other. And during that time, even though I know that we were only friends, you know, I'm a woman, I assume that maybe this guy, is interested on me, because why would he talk to me if he's not
Yeah.
interested, right?
Yeah.
And so I had to kind of confront him a few times about our friendship, because I was telling him, you know what, I think this is too much, because we're just friends, but we talk almost every day
All the
until 4
time.
a.m. my time. And so we tried kind of taking a break for a week or two, and then we started talking again. And then I think the last time I confronted him about it, after a week, he told me that he's going to visit the Philippines. And so he visited the Philippines in 2018, January of 2018. So we were still friends during this time. And he said, well, I have money, and I have a friend in the Philippines who can tour me around. So I was like, oh, okay, so I was just a guy to you. But I was just kidding around. And so he visited the Philippines. He stayed there for 2 weeks during the first visit, and then after 3 days of hanging out together, um we kind of confirmed our feelings for one another,
Yeah.
and he kind of laid down his intentions with my help, because he was a shy type as well. So I had to like ask him probing questions, because I wasn't sure, like, are you trying to pursue me now, or are you
Yeah.
just encouraging me or complimenting me? And so yeah, so by the end of the night, we decided that we want to level up our relationship. And so we started dating. And so he visited in January the first time, he visited in June again, and then he visited in September during the same year, 2018. Yeah, and during his third visit, that's when he proposed to me. And then we went through the K1 visa process. I don't know if you've seen the TV show 90 Day Fiance. So that's kind of like what we had to go through. So we when he proposed to me, we started the K1 visa process. So we didn't see each other for 9 months. It was really tough, because we miss each other so much.
Yeah.
And I think there were a little bit of arguments, because when you miss somebody so much and you couldn't do anything about it, you just get so frustrated, right? And
Yeah.
so, but but after 9 months, we got approved, and then he picked me up. So he went back to the Philippines the fourth time. He picked me up, and we had a kind of like a little celebration with my friends in family, because he didn't want me to go alone to the States. Plus, he wanted to get my parents' blessing as well, and gave them an assurance that, hey, I'm gonna take care of your daughter. So Yeah, so
Yeah.
I immigrated to the States because I met my husband online.
And so you guys came back to the United States and you guys had the 90 days to get married.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. So how did you have I want to get into the process of the K1 visa that you guys went through, but before you moved to the United States, did you have any expectations of the United States or like this like, yeah, just expectations of the United States? Hi, Heidi here. Thank you so much for listening and supporting my podcast, but most importantly, the mission. If you would like to further support this podcast, there are a few ways you can do that. You can sign up for the newsletter. You'll receive the episodes straight to your inbox every time they drop. The link is in the show notes and the show description. You can subscribe to the podcast YouTube channel. And lastly, you can donate money. That link is also in the show notes and show description. If you would like to sponsor an episode or promote your business on this show, send me an email at Heidi@HeidyDelacruz.com. Thank you and enjoy the rest of the episode.
Oh, wow. None really,
Not really?
because I grew up in the city. Even though our city is not as great as what we have here, but I watch a lot of American TV shows and American
Yeah.
movies. So I kind of already know what to expect.
Okay.
And it was really what I was seeing,
Yeah.
in the movie.
Okay, no, thank you for that. The reason why I ask is because of that is because, some guests, will have like movies and TV shows and things, and they'll say like, oh yeah, we watched that. But like once they moved here, it's like, oh, it was completely different. But I'm glad you had a different experience. So tell us a little bit more about the K1 process. So once you moved, you had 90 days to marry, and then what happened after that?
Yeah, so when I arrived here, I thought I was gonna be busy preparing for the wedding, but my husband's mom, she's a wedding coordinator, and she
Oh,
decorates as well for events and parties. And so I just told her what I wanted for the wedding. I said, since I'm gonna be married in the month of August, so that was summertime, I told her that I want a sunflower themed wedding. And so she pretty much just did all of it. And during that time, I didn't have that much money to put into the wedding, so I wasn't really that picky. And I'm not really the type of girl that wants, a big, you know,
yeah.
luxurious wedding. And so my mom-in-law took care of everything, and we only spent $500 on our wedding, and that's to pay for the photographer. Yeah,
Wow.
my wedding dress was given to me by my friend in the Philippines, which whom I coordinated her wedding a year before I left. So she asked me, "Hey, I know you're engaged already. Do you want my wedding dress? I can give it to you." And I liked her wedding dress. It was designed in Dubai, so it's really fancy. And she didn't ask for anything in return, but before I left, I kind of gave her just, something like a love gift
Yeah.
to appreciate, her willingness to give me her wedding dress. And so yeah, I didn't have to worry about anything. Even our honeymoon, we didn't have to pay for it because my husband, his family has a family friend in Tennessee that owns a lodge, a cabin, and so they had us stay there for a week without paying for anything. So
Oh,
we were up in the
nice.
mountain, enjoying the view and enjoying our time, together. And then after we got married, actually, my dad, he applied for a tourist visa to come to our wedding. It was very surprising as well that he got accepted for a tourist visa, because when you live in a third world country, it's hard to get approved
Yeah.
for a vacation visa. So he got accepted. So he was the only family member that was able to
Oh,
join the wedding. But it was perfect because he was able to walk me down the aisle. And yeah, so after we got our marriage license and the marriage certificate, we had to send another pile of
Mhm.
documents to, I forget the name of the government, USCIS,
Yeah.
I guess. Yeah, we had to send our documents to USCIS to make sure that they know that we got married already
Mhm.
within 90 days and that our relationship is legit, you know.
Mhm.
So we had to do that. And then I waited about 8 months to get my conditional permanent residency. And then just recently, actually, I had my 10-year green card. So the goal is to get my citizenship this year. But we'll see about that.
So, for those who don't know, if you are married to a US citizen and it is less than, is it 2 or 3 years? I can't remember how much I think, yeah, between 2 or 3 years. If you're married for less than that time, you get a temporary or,
Mm,
like you said, a conditional residency card. And then you have to like reapply after the 2 or 3 years to then get your permanent residency just
right.
to confirm and make sure that the marriage is legitimate. And so like
Exactly.
that's even another process that people have to go through if they've been married for less than that amount of time. I have to check if it's 2 or 3 years. So I'm glad that you were able to, get your permanent residency. And then even after that, how long is the wait? So, or how long did you have to wait to be able to apply for citizenship?
Oh, so as far as I know, as long as you've been here in the States for 3 years, you can already apply for your citizenship. So I can already apply for that, but I'm just not ready for it yet because I have to memorize 100 questions to make sure that
Yep.
I pass the interview. And by
Yes.
the way, when you apply for your conditional green card, there is a biometric and interview process. So
Mhm.
I did the biometric process or the biometric part, but not the interview part. Which during that time I was really praying hard. I was praying to God to not be interviewed because even though our relationship, is legit, it's still different when you're being interrogated by people
Yeah.
about your relationship,
Yeah.
right? And my husband, he has such, anxiety about it. And so thank God that we didn't have to go through the interview. And it's probably because my husband and I were of the same age. And I think for most people that have a big age gap, they have more chances of getting interviewed, making sure that everything is legit. And even getting my 10-year green card, we didn't have to go through the interview as well. So it was very smooth. And I feel like as long as your relationship is legit and you don't have anything to hide, USCIS will not give you a hard time.
Yeah, no red flags. As long as there's no red
Yeah.
flags, you guys should be fine. And even the citizenship test, like you were saying, like to do that, even that is a process. You apply, and then you have to. They give you the booklet. I remember from my parents that booklet. That's 100 questions, and you have to memorize them and know them all because you don't know which of those 100 questions they're gonna ask. And so I remember when my stepmom was studying, they had given her a CD. So back in the day, guys, there were CDs and she put it
At
in the
least
car.
it's not a cassette tape or
No,
VHS.
yeah, correct. It was a CD. And she would put it in the car every time we would drive anywhere to practice. And I remember one time my best friend was in the car with us and she was like, these questions are hard. I don't even know the answers to the. I was like, I know. It's crazy. So
Yeah, that's so true.
so I know what you mean when you say like you're not ready and you have to prepare because it's a process as well. But I
Right.
can't wait to hear when you do finally pass and get your citizenship and do the ceremony and they give you a little American flag. It's awesome. I remember just
Yay.
going through that process with my
Mhm.
parents. So let's see. What is one thing that you miss about living in the Philippines?
Well, it's mainly friends and family. I'm the type of person who can easily adapt to any type of environment. When I was in the Philippines, I eat rice 3 times a day. Breakfast, lunch, dinner, it's rice all the way. Here in the States, I don't eat much already. Um, I mean, I don't eat much rice already because first we're on a diet, and second, we don't have much Asian store where we live, and
Mm,
so um I'm okay, not being able to eat Filipino food all the time. But I realized that, even though I can adapt to any type of environment, my friends or family are the ones that cannot be replaced by anything.
yeah. Yeah.
Like I have my own set of friends and of course new family here in Ohio, but it's different.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely.
Yeah, the culture is different. The way how they were brought up was different. The way how they joke around is different. Sometimes I can't understand American humor.
Yeah.
Sometimes I understand it, but it's just not funny to me. There was one time husband was saying me, was telling me an American joke, and I was like, "What do you mean?" And he's like, "It's this, blah blah blah." Yeah, I know, but what's so funny? Like,
But
it's
that's
not
not
funny.
funny. Yeah.
Yeah, and so yeah, so the way how we do relationship as well is very different. In the Philippines, the community is different, and I'm sure you know that because you grew up in a Hispanic, family. So Hispanic culture and Filipino culture, they're about the same, because the
Hmm.
Philippines was colonized, by the Spanish people for I think about 50 years or 50 decades. I don't know. I think 50 years. I don't know my history. I skipped school during history during history class. So I don't know. But yeah, I miss being with my family, even though we had so much conflicts and arguments between one another, but when we're together, it's like we don't have any problems with one
Yeah.
another. It seems like we don't have problems in life. We're just loud, joking around, and the
It's a
way how
party.
we joke with one another, yeah, the way how we joke with one another can be offensive if I do that here in the States.
Mm. Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So tell us, what was your first culture shock or the first one that like you remember like really impacted you?
Yeah. So the first time I arrived here, I didn't have much of a culture shock. My husband told me that it was unfair because when he went to the Philippines the first time, he was super culture shocked. He said it was like there's Earth One, the States is Earth One, and then the Philippines
Uh,
is Earth Two because it's just very different. You're
Different.
like in a
Yeah.
different world. And then I did I thought I wouldn't be culture shocked, for the first year that I'm living here in the States. But as I experienced the culture, the weather, that's when I realized that there is something that I have not experienced in the Philippines that I'm now experiencing here in the States, and that is winter depression. I didn't know that
Mm.
winter depression is that real because when we were in the Philippines, when we're going through hard times, you know, we just shake it off. Um we just we just go to our family's house and just talk it out and watch a movie and then it's done, you know. And here it's different, especially when winter hits,
Yeah.
even if you don't have problems in life, even if you're happy, you don't have anything you're thinking of, you get depressed all of a sudden
Yeah.
without any valid reason. And so that's it. That was one thing that I was sort of culture shock, and I had to change my lifestyle. And
Yeah.
so when I experienced that, I told my husband that we needed to get out of the house often, and it didn't help as well that we both work from home. So Monday to
Mm.
Friday, we're Monday to Friday we're just inside the house. So that's when we started going to a ski resort here in Ohio. So since last year, I've been skiing and my husband has been snowboarding. So that's kind of like something that we do during winter time. So we look forward to that, and it gives us it helps us to be physically um good and
Yeah.
mentally great as well.
Yeah, because that is a drastic climate change for you. The Philippines is sunny and tropical, and then you come to Ohio, Midwest, and it's like you have the four seasons. Yes, it's very beautiful, but the winters are gray, they're cold, and it's dark the majority of the day.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, I'm from Michigan, so I know. I know
Oh
how
yes,
that,
yeah.
yeah, so I know how the winters is out there. And then the winters are like not only the day, like the nights are long during the winter because it's mostly dark, but it's also like the months, like it's just a lot of months with gray skies, and it's like where's the sun? So I know exactly what you're talking about, and I can definitely see that how that would affect you, that climate. So it's not a culture shock, it was a climate shock that
Climate
you
shock,
had.
yeah.
All right. So I would like to get into your work because you say that you are a VA, but there's so many different types of VAs. So what does your business help do as VAs?
Yeah, so we mainly help with marketing support. So for most of our clients, we help them with social media, website, graphic design, even podcast management, and administrative tasks. So we have VAs who can do admin and marketing support.
Nice. And so you said that you got into that back home, right? And then you just expanded it in here in the US.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So in 2017, I started as a virtual assistant. I was able to do almost everything online. And then when I moved to the States in 2019, I got stressed and overwhelmed because I was able to build my network. I met a lot of business owners. And so they wanted me to work for them. And then my current client during that time, they wanted me to work for other projects for them. And so I got stressed and overwhelmed to the point of burnout. And so I thought of reaching out to my friends in the Philippines during that time who were freelancing. And so they helped me work for my clients' projects and establish the business. And so from 2019, which was the year I registered the business in Ohio, to 2024, we are now a team of 70 plus virtual assistants, and we've helped more than 300 businesses from North America and the UK.
Wow, that is incredible.
Thank
Congratulations
you.
on that. That is amazing. And so how can people connect with you?
Yeah, so I am very social. You can find me on Instagram, Kristy Abby Yoder, and you can also reach out to me on LinkedIn, which is Kristy Yoder. I have a vlog, so if you want to be updated about my life, although I'm not as consistent as I want to be, you can find me on YouTube. The name of my channel is Positively, so PAWSITIVELY Filipina, Positively Filipina. So you can find my videos there when I visited the Philippines, some fun stuff that I do with my husband and with my dog. And I'll be traveling in the Philippines next month, March 18 until April 30. So I'm sure I'm going to be posting a lot of videos when I'm in the Philippines as well.
Nice. That's so exciting. And I will include all of your links in the show notes and show description. And last question is, what does the American dream mean to you?
That is such a good question. I feel like for some people, when they think of the American dream, they think of somebody having their own business, not being employed or being a slave to somebody. Even though I have my own business, my definition of, the American dream is different. To me, achieving the American dream is having freedom to do the things that you love doing, and having the option not to do the things that you don't like doing. And with that freedom, I believe that it comes with great great responsibilities as well. So to me, achieving the American dream is having freedom, but at the same time being accountable
Yeah.
to your responsibilities.
Yeah, that is so true. Thank you so much for that. And again, thank you, Kristy, for sharing your journey. Thank you so much for making me laugh. You are hilarious. And just thank you so much for your time today. Any last words that you would like to leave with the audience?
Yeah, I was able to build a successful business here in America, and I didn't even grow up here. I only moved in 2019. If I was able to make it rain, English is not even my first language, and I'm able to like have, a lot of employees in the Philippines and even clients. If I can make it here, you can do it as well, just as long as you have courage and you're brave.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Thank you so much for that. You have a great rest of your day.
Thank you so much. I enjoyed our conversation.